Let's talk about animal fats first of all. Those of you who are about my age, remember in the 1980s and 90s, we were all told you had to stop eating fat. Remember, fat-free everything. You could buy fat-free Twinkies and fat-free bread and fat-free ice cream and everything fat-free. And that was terrible. So we cut out the fat, but we replaced it with something much worse. Not only that, all the sugar, flavorings, everything else, that was a terrible idea, and we learned a lesson from that because people got really sick. So not only elevating our lipid profile, causing heart disease, but not causing weight loss, which was the whole point of the experiment. So we know that being fat-free is not a good idea. Fats are necessary, they're really healthy, and saturated fats are not bad. We need to lose our fear of fat. So yes, anything in excess is going to cause some problems. People on carnivore diets who are eating steak and butter for breakfast with no vegetables or fiber are often going to see an elevation in their cholesterol, and that leads to heart issues, but not always. It's not that simple. So we were taught when I was a young doctor that to lower cholesterol, simply tell people to stop eating animal fats or even animal products altogether. But that was a very simple and incorrect recommendation because, in fact, diet makes a small effect on our cholesterol for most people, but the biggest effect is the cholesterol that we produce in our own body from our liver. A lot of that's genetic, and a lot of it's driven by other things that are not animal fats. So this is so interesting, and I've really had to change my tune about it because I talked for years about how all you had to do is stop eating animal fats and your cholesterol would drop because, in fact, cholesterol is only in animal products. Cholesterol is not in vegetables. It's a product of animal cell walls. So if you think about it, one would think that if you stopped eating animal stuff, your cholesterol would drop. Well, wasn't that simple. Turned out not to really work that way. Some people can eat buckets of animal products and their cholesterol's fine, and other people can be vegan and their cholesterol's terrible. So there's much more to it than that, and nutrition has a small effect in most people, but not a very big one. So then what is happening? It's true that other things elevate our cholesterol that have nothing to do with animal fats. The way that sugar and insulin resistance, for example, affects the metabolism of our liver causes our liver to way overproduce cholesterol. So simply fixing insulin resistance and reducing sugar intake improves our cholesterol, which in turn improves heart health. So it's much more complex than we used to think, but just to bottom line it for you, do not be afraid of fat. These days, most people say things like 30% of our total energy should come from fat, maybe 5 to 10% from saturated fat, the rest from vegetable sources, and you can argue about whether you want olive oil or safflower oil or avocado oil or something else. Getting rid of trans fat's a good idea. Now, how on earth do you calculate 30% of your energy unless you're drinking a pre-made drink or getting food fed through your IV? There's no way to calculate that accurately. It's more of just an eyeball idea. Just sort of look at what you're eating and guesstimate that about 30% of the energy is coming from fat or less, and 10% or less from saturated fat like animal fats or coconut oil, palm oil, and then focus more on olive oil. So pretty simple in that way, and that's the current recommendation. Now, I won't say that it will never change because goodness knows nutrition has continued to change, certainly throughout my adult life. There's something new every year, but we're circling in on something that seems to be pretty stable, which is that we're learning much more about what causes heart disease, what causes insulin resistance, and it's not quite as simple as we wish that it was.